Hello, and welcome to 97.9 Unity Radio, the best political radio show in Worcester, Massachusetts, coming to you live from Utica, New York, and New Jersey, with the best team around politically. My political analysts, starting to my left, he is known only as the voice of reason.
Finally, the perfect introduction for me. Thank you.
Frank Cristiano. And on my left on the computer, the man who confuses people with his beard. He says his beard is distracting. The man himself, Dave Schuman, Coach Schuman, joining us for Rebel Republic. And boy, has Rebel Republic made an impact in Massachusetts like none other. We've definitely made a statement. And
Really?
There's a lot. Oh, we have. There's a lot going on.
Is there a lot of love coming from Worcester, Mass?
Well, I don't think we're going to be able to visit anytime soon.
I've been banned from Worcester, Mass?
I don't know if you've been banned, but it might not be the best place for you to visit.
Really?
If you visit, you have to be incognito.
Incognito? Me?
Yeah.
Have you seen me?
Party for us.
Well, somebody asked.
That's what I thought.
If you think there should be a tax on oxygen because you use too much of it when you talk.
I do.
Yeah,
I use too much oxygen when I talk.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
That's what they said.
Well, listen.
They said because you complain about inflation and all that.
Correct.
Then they should tax our oxygen because you're using too much of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, oxygen is the next thing to be taxed if the new administration gets put in place in 24. I mean, you can see it happening right now with They're going to tax unrealized oxygen.
Yes, they might as well.
You
Right?
can thank a union for giving you 5-day work week.
That's great. Y'all, you got to throw in the accent.
Y'all.
So yeah, that's
her fake accent.
Well, you got to play to you got to know who your crowd is. You got to play to your crowd.
That's the one thing we're going to definitely address here on Rebel Republic. But to start, we're 61 days out. Now, the concern is the mail-in ballots are going out very soon, and early voting starts soon in certain states. My first question would be, we can start with the voice of reason.
Yes.
Does that concern you at all, the early voting and the mail-in ballots going out soon?
Well, I don't know. I only have a track record with the former president being in a political election. I only have the track record of, realistically, it doesn't matter until midnight to 2 a.m. the following morning of the election.
That's when they start coming.
That's when I worry. Yeah. I don't worry until before that. I know what votes are coming in. I know who's walking to the polls, who's jogging to the polls, who's flying to the polls, or who is just not going to the poll at all, but actually their vote being brought in. But I think I worry most from that midnight to 2-3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Day after.
We got to watch those mailboxes for sure.
Yeah. Right? Well, the polling centers too. I think there's going to be a much better. I can tell you right now.
How they count the votes? Yeah.
Right. Well, I know that they're paying. The RNC is paying independent.
Are they really?
People $250 a day. You could be a poll watcher.
Oh,
so you actually would sit there throughout the election day. Now, granted, you can't do anything, but you need to report any.
Who would you report it to?
Well, there's a polling center. Someone's in charge of that polling center. Okay. So you would report any
suspicious activity.
Yeah, anything that you think may be a little too suspicious or off color or something's wrong. But you report it to them. Now, granted, it all depends on who's going to be running that polling station.
That's what I'm worried about.
Well, that's the thing too. So listen. Politics is dirty.
Oh, it's down. It's
dirty.
Down
it's dirty. They know it's dirty. They know it. They insult each other. They throw money around to do campaigns to insult each other. How about Alexa? Right? You see that?
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah, where people around the country were asking Alexa, "Hey Alexa, should I throw my vote or support, or what good redeeming qualities are about Donald Trump? I'm sorry, AI should not be an influence in politics. And then you ask the same question.
AI is a concern, though.
Well,
for
you
a lot
ask
of people.
but you ask the same question about Kamala Harris.
Yes.
And they say, well, Kamala Harris has been a proponent and a great voting record, and she's championing people's the Democratic Party's efforts and saving this and saving that.
Yes.
So realistically, even the damn spy machine that's in our house, Alexa, was telling us who to vote for, or at least to give you suggestions. Now, within the last 3 to 4 hours, not 3 to 4 hours, it had to be earlier because I tried it this morning when I got up. I go, let me try it, all that. and it fixed it. They fixed the problem. But Lindsey Graham is going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to spend millions of dollars to find out how Google.
That's really
got
or
the Amazon, how that got to be corrupted as far as giving answers out. When
the infrastructure for.
I can tell you how it got corrupted.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Bezos said, Alexa, you will be programmed as a Democrat. No problem, sir.
That's all they said.
That's great.
But Dave, I mean, the early voting, the polls are going to be open soon in some states, and then the mail-in ballots. That is what was the main problem in 2020, and the chances of rectifying that now. What are we going to do? And okay, we're going to have people watch the polls, but even if you report it, the guy in charge, what is he supposed to do? Like, what's the protocol? Or do you get arrested for it? Are you not able to vote? Like, what goes on if that happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think that from a polling standpoint, the people at the polls, they probably have little ability other than reporting it to the RNC, any recourse at all. I think the issue, like Frank pointed out, whatever Trump's lead is coming into the wee hours of the night, it better be large enough to overcome the change of votes that happen between the wee hours of, Frank said 12 to 2, I say 2 to 4 a.m. when everyone really, 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 really is not paying attention. That's like beyond late night radio and late night TV. In the old, remember in the old days before cable, Frank, you probably might remember that a little more like I am. They would play at 12 o'clock midnight, the American flag would play. Remember that?
And the national anthem would play.
The national anthem would come
and that
on.
was it. And that was it. You had to go to bed.
You had to go to bed.
That's all that played was the national anthem at midnight.
At midnight. There was no programming after that. That's it. We call it was a wrap. Call it a night.
Call it a night.
Yes.
Wow. I did not know that.
Absolutely.
I did not know that. Now, President Trump has been very active this month. Okay. I believe this
got a town hall tonight. I'm watching it right now.
This is his 36th speaking appearance that he's made. And Kamala has made 2. What are your thoughts on that? Because Trump has been very, very active. Trump is trying to show his visibility, that he's not scared even after the assassination attempt. He's coming out even stronger, and he's showing he's not afraid. While Kamala, she word salads everything. Every answer is a word salad. She never comes close to answering the question. She dances around it, and then everyone cheers. Yay! We love her. We love her. We love her.
She has to avoid questions, because any question answered, it's going to be a different answer from what her platform was back when she was either a state senator, a district attorney in California, or also running for president of the United States. All those positions that she took and that she backed vehemently and said that this is who I am, she has turned around on. So how could she answer a question honestly and look the public in the face? Go ahead.
Can I share with you on our screen her last thing about the union, because I just find
please,
this to me is the level of not just will do anything, but fakery. Okay, fakery. Like listen, Hillary was chastised for saying, "I put hot sauce on
Hot
it."
sauce in the bag. Hot sauce in the bag.
Hot sauce. I got hot sauce in my bag. Well, I mean, this is Kamala's moment here. So we'll have to play. Let's see if I don't know if you can. I wonder if you can hear it.
Yep.
You better thank a union member for the 5-day work week. You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
I mean,
but that was in Detroit.
Why is she speaking with a Southern accent?
Well, no, she's speaking more of a. And I'm going to say this and maybe offend people. I don't mean to offend people, but more of an ethnic or a
No.
AAG.
You think it sounds more urban?
More. It sounds more urban.
Oh, I don't
It
like
sounds more
kind
urban.
of, you know what? I thought it was more like an urban / Martin Luther King try to be style. Like it was like a mix of the two, without obviously Martin Luther King had the broad voice and the deep, but it was like she was trying to make that speech into some sort of. I mean, to me, that just tells me it's all an act. It's just all an act. It's all
yeah.
Trump on the one hand, okay, whether someone likes him or dislikes him, he is who he is. That's what I love about Trump.
He's going to tell you what he believes. I agree that 100% on that.
And what Kamala looks like to me is she's handed the speech beforehand. She's told this is what is going to get you more popular in the votes. So you flip to this. This is what you believed before. Well, now you believe this, and she just rolls with it. And I'll give her this. She's ambitious. She wants to be the president. That's why she's in this position. She wants to be the president, and her ambition. When people ask, what does it take to succeed? Besides hard work, determination. There are people that are very ambitious, and ambition will take you a long way. And she's gone a long way without a whole lot other than ambition. Going back to the old San Francisco days with Willie Brown, and that where she was his mistress, and that she leveraged Willie Brown to get moved up. She leveraged every single person that she has to move up. So I give her credit for having ambition, but ambition should not make someone the president. The president should have a value system.
Honestly, Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama, who I feel are two of the maybe 3 or 4 important cogs that are running the DNC right now. But Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama, give us a candidate. Give the Democratic Party a candidate. Give them a real candidate. Don't give them someone that got 0% of the vote when she tried to run. Don't give us someone that backtalks and gets herself out of every situation possible when asked about relevant questions. Don't give us someone who's fake in the public. Don't give us someone who gives us the runaround. But give the people who didn't have a choice something solid,
right
to run on. You're running on because she's a female.
I'll give you an interesting thing, and I'm curious your take on this, Frank. I heard this, and I have no idea whether it's true or not. And you're the voice of reason. I actually,
of course, please.
So this is definitely for you. So I heard that Nancy Pelosi and Obama were planning for Michelle Obama to be the candidate, and what and when they decided they wanted to throw out Biden and basically kick him to the curb, Biden threw his weight. He had 30 minutes, and Biden in those 30 minutes threw his weight behind Kamala to trump what they were doing to him. They were forcing him out, regardless whether he wanted it or not. And his move was to get Kamala in there before they could get Michelle Obama. And that's
true?
That's what I heard.
By him announcing it out to somebody, by him making an announcement?
By him saying he supports Kamala for president. And then within that short window of time, she picked up, remember how fast she picked up all that support?
Yes.
All of his support went to her. and all the people that were backing him went to her before they had an opportunity to say he's out and we want to push Michelle Obama. So that's what I heard. I have no idea what it's true. I saw it on. I might have seen it on. I saw it on a news channel or a podcast. I can't remember now, but that's what I heard, and I thought that was an interesting conspiracy theory in a sense that, and I don't know if Biden's half out to lunch, but like my guess is Jill and Joe. They basically like, hey, they're going to force you out. It's going to happen regardless. Let's trump them, throw it behind Kamala. And now they have a situation where they have Kamala and they're trying to figure, because she's going to be, when she goes in the debate stage with Trump, it's going to be difficult for her. Now, Trump has to be strategic, but it's going to be difficult for her because she's not going to be able to debate him. No way, shape, or form. She's going to get up there with platitudes, and Trump is going to tear her apart. And if she's not able to respond with anything other than like, you're orange man bad type thing, there's not going to be much there. Like when he says to her, you flipped on fracking, you flipped on this, you flipped on that. What is your stance? I don't know if she's going to have an answer.
No, she won't. And I know that leading up to before Joe Biden being removed as a candidate, I know that and we talked about it here. I know Steve and I mentioned before that I expected Michelle Obama to, now granted, it happened faster than I thought. I thought it would go until the convention. And then at the convention, they would repoll obviously every state and take the electors' votes and change it around right there and nominate Michelle Obama as the candidate for the Democratic Party for president. And then I thought the kicker would have been, and I know that was floated around, and I know the Constitution would have something to say about it, but she would pick Barack Obama as her mate at vice president. So you would see a Obama ticket. I thought that's where it was going. So obviously, I did. I mean, I really did. I thought this is the whole, because when someone says no all the time, they kept asking Michelle Obama, "Are you going to run for president? You're gonna..." No. When they say no, that means yes.
They mean yes.
It's a total play on words, a total play on how someone feels, and trying to divert what is actually the truth. And I thought, yes, she was going to run, and
they like that. They like the people saying, "Oh, we want you to run."
I'll be honest right now. If Michelle Obama would have run or would have been chosen, she would be the next president of the United States. I have no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind about that, because she's. The Obamas are polarizing people. Barack Obama, a great orator, probably one of the better statesmen we've had in years as far as presentation. He had a lot of charisma. The country.
He had a lot of charisma,
and well spoken, and he was a person that almost everyone can relate to. Now, some couldn't relate to him because maybe they're racist, or some couldn't relate to him because of policy. I understand that, but overall, most people could relate to Barack Obama. Most people can relate, and especially females in this country can relate to Michelle Obama.
Right.
They related to her. They related to Michelle, except for the ones that call her Mike. I understand that too. Great angle. Right. You're right. I understand. Great angle. But, okay. Most can relate to Michelle Obama. I think she would have the draw. She would pull in the independents. She would pull in many more women in suburbia.
I think Frank's onto that. I think Frank has a very valid point there. I mean, I think Michelle Obama was very popular. It's amazing to me because she has obviously no, other than being the wife of the president, she has no experience at all. She's never been a congressman, a senator, or anything like that. She's never run anything.
She's just been the first lady.
That has nothing to do with politics.
I know. Absolutely. You're 100% right. Okay. But your point is 100% valid. She's popular. People like her. She was the wife of the president, so she's well known. People feel like they know her. So I think it would have been a completely different kind of battle. The battle would have been a battle where Trump could have gone at her completely, because she would be willing to get. I think she'd be willing to battle him in certain areas, And that would have been very, very interesting because they would have, Trump would have, I think, would have gone after her. I mean, absolutely gone after her.
He would have, Dave, he would have asked her to drop her pants. Drop your pants, Michelle. Let's see what the real deal is. We don't believe you.
Are you drinking a White Russian?
No, just a little Irish cream.
Oh, it's Irish cream. What do you mean Irish cream?
It's an Irish cream. It's a liqueur. It's
like Bailey's?
Yeah, but it's a Canadian. It's a maple Irish cream.
On ice.
On ice. And last time it was bourbon, and I had a great time.
Well, I know.
So this time it's a little. I had a great time. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Now it's just a little easygoing Irish cream as it would speak.
Oh, okay.
Is that all
You
right?
guys got to get ready for the upstate New York, fall, winter time. You know what I mean? So you got to start.
It's freezing this morning.
Yeah, we got some. It was
Irish
cold.
Cream. You got to get a little Irish cream going to get it.
We got to warm it up. We need a little fire going. Fireside chats. We got to bring those back. Yeah, but I think Trump. I think would have gone right at Michelle. You're totally correct. I just find it funny that, again, give us a candidate. They've given the Democratic Party, the Democratic people, voters, a candidate that has zero substance that no one likes. No one liked her.
No, okay. Nobody wanted.
Nobody saw her. Nobody knew what she did. She was relevant in no part of this country in 3.5 years. I don't care what anybody says. Right?
No visibility.
Right. So they've given you that candidate. But this is the same. Now everyone's voting because we need a female in office. We need a female in office. The same party that says that there is no gender.
No.
All of a sudden now they're recognizing gender.
You can be whoever.
They're recognizing gender.
Yeah. No, I agree. The other concern that I had read about, the main battleground state that people think Kamala is going to win. Kamala, the wrestler, either one, that is going to dominate is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a key battleground state, and pundits are saying that Kamala is going to win it handily. It's not even going to be close. What are your thoughts on that?
What pundit is this?
There were several people that said it. Several people that said that she could win.
Karine Jean-Pierre?
She could win Pennsylvania very easily. And if she wins Pennsylvania, she will win Georgia, and that'll be the election right there.
I thought when she didn't pick Shapiro, or when am I kidding? When the DNC think tank did not pick Shapiro because he's a Jew, and they didn't want the disruption right now with the whole war between Israel and Hamas and all the protesting. When they didn't pick Shapiro, she lost that state. I'll tell you right now, she has lost that state. That state, I would be shocked. I would drink much more than Irish cream if she pulls Pennsylvania off.
Oh, wow. So you think that it's going to be a huge win for Trump in Pennsylvania?
That's why she's trying to go in on things like fracking, and because she's trying to make up for the fact that she didn't pick. I believe that if she had picked Shapiro, Trump would have had a hard time because he's a well-liked governor in Pennsylvania. He would have carried the state for her, and when you break it all down, there's only a few states it's going to come down to, and that is one of them.
Yes.
And so he was one. Now, the state that Walz or whatever takes care of was going to be in probably
Democrat anyways.
Yeah, it's Democrat anyways. Even though rurally they vote Republican, there's still enough people within the city areas that really cover it to cover for Democrats. So it didn't do anything per se for her from that standpoint. Much like when we had an argument about Tim Scott. When we had an argument about Tim Scott, you brought up the point that South Carolina is in the bag, right? Does it really,
correct?
Need it. So I think, I say much like that. Yeah, I think your point's valid from that standpoint.
Well, there's allegedly 7 swing states. 7 swing states, according to MSNBC. Fox has joined in on it. There's 7 swing states that really are going to make the difference in this election. So that blows my mind that there's 50 states and it's going to come down to 7
been like
to
that the last
determine-
2 elections. It's been like that.
Yeah, it's always a
I mean, how can it
it's always a
be?
handful of states.
How can a state remain Democrat or Republican for such a length of time? Like New York, we've been Democrat for year after year after year for decades. Why is it so hard to change over to be Republican? What would make New York a Republican state?
That's a great question.
We
Number
weren't
one,
Republican, and we haven't been Republican since Pataki.
Republicans
Right.
moved out of the state well, I shouldn't say the
Right.
state has moved out of the city. Every Republican's moved out of the city. There's none. There's almost none.
They aren't.
well, there are conservatives in the city. There's some there, and I think more and more of the minority population, more and more of Hispanic population is
Yes,
becoming
agreed.
more conservative. I think the African American community is becoming more conservative. Not conservative overall, where they're going to back every policy that a GOP party puts out there, but they're conservative in their thought process of actually backing people that they see that are at least spewing some truths. Because the Democratic Party, the Democrats have the hold in New York State and several other ones because of policies that benefit inner city populations. I have to say that that's just what it is. They're throwing money at the problem, and it's not a problem, but they're just throwing money to keep people on the voting rolls.
And that's what keeps New York State.
That in the minds of people that are taking advantage of the programs that are out there, that's what's keeping it. But bottom line, even those people are realizing right now. Think of it this way: you live in inner, and it's hell sometimes living in inner city in the projects. And how do I know? Have I ever lived there? No. Do I have people? I have people that you have? Yes. Do you have people? Do I have people that have worked there or that are either were social workers or law enforcement? Yes. And they tell me every day when I talk to them the inner workings of how difficult it is. Life, not just for them working in that environment, but obviously the people who are living there in the first place.
No, yes, interacting and living in that environment is very
right. So it's a tough situation right there. But what's happening is right now is they're getting money thrown at this. But even now they are realizing that you know what, we're getting some scraps thrown at us. But these illegals that are coming over the border are getting EBT cards with 10, 15 grand.
They get 10 grand.
They're getting $5,000 in cash. We're going to give you $25,000. They're going to get $25,000 in California for a home if they can purchase it. They have no legal standing in the country yet.
But they're being
right, and
handed it on a silver platter.
We need immigrants,
of course,
but we need to know who these immigrants are.
Well, we can't be nice.
We can't, and the proof is in the pudding. If you pick up let's see how old I am. If you pick up the paper, if you go online and you read and you see daily activity in large cities, even in suburbs now, the situation in Colorado is fresh, but you can't tell me that's not the same situation in Chicago and not the same situation in New York City or not the same situation out in California. You're seeing major conflicts. And people are in danger in these cities from the immigrants that are here illegally, not checked, not verified, and they are going about daily life as they would go about in their old country, and which is a much rougher scenario and scene than what we have here. They don't follow the law.
Right, and that's amazing to see that they can come in and get that kind of money. But if you live in the country and you are on welfare or are struggling to get a job or struggling for housing, food, all that, you won't get that type of assistance from our government.
They told you right now by allowing this to happen, 21 million immigrants in the last 3.5 years through the border.
Well, she said that she's going to throw them all
20. Okay. Yeah. That stays in line with what she said for the last 30 years as a litigator and as a senator and as a vice president. That's crap. What they're telling you right now is realistically, if you're an American in this country, and you're having hard times, all right? So a lot of us said we're okay, we're well off. If you're an American and you're having hard times, you know what? It's too bad.
It's too
because
bad.
we're going to need to divert more of that money that should be going to you,
to the immigrants,
to people coming across the border right now who we want to help more than you. Why do we want to help more than you? We need to increase the voter rolls. That's it.
Wow. Just like that. I just want to point out that I'm wearing a Turtle Boy shirt because Turtle Boy is the most popular and most controversial conservative blogger in Worcester, and I love him very much. Yes, and I wish I could get him on the show, but I did talk to John McEntee, who you requested,
Yes,
and John McEntee agreed to come on the show.
That'll be phenomenal.
He was blown away. I didn't know anything about him other than I knew he was at UConn. When did he start getting involved in politics?
I think he went and worked on the Trump campaign.
Oh, he did.
Yes, and I think he was. And when you have him on, I'm sure he could tell more about it. But I think originally he worked on the Trump campaign. He's a famous TikToker, but he owns a company that's like a dating service company.
Yes,
but he utilizes that. He makes all those like little off those remarks about everything, from obviously conservative slant, which we talked about last time.
but it's huge, yeah.
But he is, I mean,
he's the guy eating. He's the guy eating all the time.
Always eating. By the way, I wonder where he's at all the time because he always looks like he's at great places.
No, Portnoy does a pizza review. This guy here, he's eating all different places, eating food and all that, but he will give you a kicker as he's eating. So he's going to say, well, illegal immigrants coming on the thing, and now the immigrants getting their money. How about that? Exactly. Or that's fine. Or that's, okay. All right. That's, and it's just it's obviously a high satire site.
Yep.
Right. That throws ideas out there in a conservative light. And then they've got that Masterson guy now, whatever the hell he is now. He's copying it in a liberal light. He's going and doing the same thing. So it's a back and forth, but it's genius in how he's, like you said, he took one site and he capitalized on it and now turned it into this.
McEntee, when he was at UConn, if I'm not mistaken, was famous for doing quarterback trick shots.
He did the trick shots. Yeah, that's what got him famous. Yes,
he was famous.
He was amazing for it.
He understood. I think he really knows how to leverage social media because he went viral back then when he was doing all the trick shot stuff. When he was, he did. Was the quarterback there. So, and by the way, for McEntee, it'd be interesting to hear because he worked with Trump. If I'm pretty sure he worked. I don't know if he worked with Trump directly, but there's pictures of him with Trump. But he worked on his campaign, so it'll be interesting to hear from his point of view. What Trump's angle is going to be, and as you go through this election, process, because I think he probably still has some close connections to the campaign. So. But yeah, I think the biggest thing going forward, right, is in the debate of what is going to make people choose one way or the other if they're an independent is really going to be: do they believe what Kamala's saying? Do they actually believe what she's saying?
Yeah.
If they believe her, she's going to win a lot of those independent votes. If they believe that I think if people believe that she's full of and Trump is who he is, right, and he's firm to his normal value systems, then he will win. It really is going to come down to that. Like, as a person who's a conservative, obviously, like I said, and I'm just like Frank in the sense that if there was a great Democrat, I would vote for a person.
No problem with that.
I'm voting for the best person. You know what I mean? Even though I'm conservative, I'm voting for the best person. But as a conservative, I having watched her for 4 years, knowing the history of her rise to where she's
her ascent, yeah.
It's not one of the most earned.
No, she didn't pay her dues. She did not pay her dues.
If you think about it, if she became president, it's actually, I mean,
She's got the limited
unreal. I
amount of
feel like
fills
Michelle
out- it fills
Obama
out
wasn't
the
that
DEI
experienced.
checklist. She fills out the DEI checklist. That's it.
Could you imagine? To me, it's shocking that a person could become president based off of DEI, basically. Like they didn't. I mean, did they really choose her because she was the best candidate?
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
embarrassing.
I think Frank's right. Like, I don't know if she would have won or not, but Michelle Obama would have been a better candidate. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Across the board.
Absolutely. And they're worried about funding. I mean, I know I talked about it in the beginning. I'm like, they kept Kamala because of funding. There's probably a $500 million in that fund.
Yep.
And they didn't want to lose it because if it was out of administration candidate, they would lose it. It would all have to be given back to the donors. So I thought more of a money play, but Dave makes a great point. They'll find the money. So bottom line, if Michelle Obama was the candidate, she's out of the party, but they'll find the money for Michelle Obama, right?
Right.
Dave, no, I think I asked you this. I was turned on to the Daily Wire or Daily Mail. Remember?
Yeah.
Daily Wire. Okay. The girl I may or may not be seeing, Kelly, had showed me the Daily Wire.
Is this a covert operation you have with this girl?
No, I watched a movie on it, and it was about a school shooting. And then there was also a school shooting in Georgia.
No, wait a minute.
Yes. Today or yesterday, right?
Today, yeah, Georgia was today. You just said the girl that I may or may not be dating.
Yeah.
What is it, a covert operation with her?
No. She likes me one day and then she hates me another day. So
that's normal.
It's may or may not.
You think it's her problem?
Well, no, I mean it's me.
Okay.
She doesn't like me, so
we're on the same page.
some days she likes me, some days she doesn't.
Right.
But she
every day.
Yeah. I watched the movie and I was blown away by it because it was supposed to show the right to bear arms, and it showed how police handle school shootings. And it showed that the character in the movie planned the school shooting in 14 months because he knew how they would react. He knew about that they would lock it down and that police would not go in immediately. And then there was the shooting that happened recently in Georgia, unfortunately. And Trump really took the stage and said that it was unfortunate and that he would have handled it much differently than what had happened. Bottom line, if there is a school shooting, which is becoming more and more prevalent, unfortunately, we're seeing it more and more, and it is scary. And, there's certain schools that say police being in schools make certain kids uncomfortable, so we have no security in the schools. But the school shooting situation, how should it be handled? Is it a case-by-case basis, or is it once you know there's an active shooter, the police need to take immediate action?
Are you asking me or Frank?
Oh, we'll go with you, Dave.
Listen, here's my thoughts on schools in general. There should be a resource officer in there that is armed in every single school that has a plan for all of these situations. Okay, they all have they do have these plans to begin with, but if you're going to vote Democrat, they want to take that away. And why do they want to take that away? Because what it would do is increase the chance that shootings would happen, and then it would push the agenda that, we need to take everybody's guns because this is what happens when people have guns and they go and they shoot up schools.
It's not about the guns.
Number one priority of the school is very simple to me. Okay, it goes beyond educating the kids. It is protecting the kids that the parents have entrusted with your care.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line at a school, right?
Correct.
Bottom line before education is we are sending our kids to get educated by you because we trust that they will be safe with you.
Safe.
Because in the old days, 1800s, okay, but when people they homeschooled their kids because they trusted the parents were trusted to be able to do that. They didn't have as many facilities. They didn't have the ability to keep kids safe in schools back then, right? So that is the number one priority, right? Like think about, you remember the show Little House on the Prairie? I don't know.
Of course.
Well, yeah, okay. So Little House on Prairie, right? They had the school there, and the teachers were there, and the parents would drop the kids off, and you felt safe bringing your kids to school there.
You did,
That was
yeah.
a big deal back then. That
I
was a
know.
big deal, that you trusting that this teacher will take care of your kid, right? So when parents, especially public school, it can happen at any school, obviously, school shooting, but public school where it's free and you're using taxpayer dollars, their parents are sending their kids there because they trust that things are going to be done correctly. And that includes the integration between the school and the police department and
Right.
the community, right? That
Right.
they're all, that if something does happen, that the police are there to act properly in due time. But
Right.
if a shooter gets in, you have a problem. You have a problem. That's why,
Yeah.
I listen. That's why you have, I believe, a police presence deters these shooters. Okay?
Exactly. Exactly.
It deters them. They want to do it undeterred. So
Right.
if they feel like they can breach something for whatever reason, they're going to do it. If they don't, and look, every once in a while, is there someone that's not concerned with that breach? Sure. Okay. But most of them will hesitate. Did the shooter who, if Trump, at the rally that he got shot at, if that shooter felt like it was an impossible situation for him to get on a roof and take a shot at Trump, he would not have done it. And that would have been proper police and Secret Service presence in all the right places. But he found a window. And that's the same thing that an active shooter in school.
I don't know if he found it, Dave. I think they escorted him into this.
You're probably right about that.
Window, right?
Right. Well, however it happened, right? It was,
Yeah,
and you're right. I mean, I believe the same way you do. But however that window became attainable, right? It's just like, I feel like the school shooter thing is something where, it has to be the school system has to be committed to that safety. There are schools that are committed to it. Okay. In theory. And there are schools that are really committed to the safety. And I've seen it because I've seen different places. Some places just think, oh, I prop a police car out front and that will deter them. In some cases it does. Okay.
Right.
There are things you could do very simply to deter it. The flip side, I guess the liberal approach to it is the liberals would say, all these guns just make, I don't want my kid to go.
So they blame it on the guns.
Yeah, but that approach has been done in Europe, and we're seeing mass stabbings.
Absolutely,
at least 4 within the last month in Europe.
Stabbings.
It's just guys running through the streets with a knife and just stabbing people, 3-4 deaths at a time.
So if you take away the guns, you're going to get stabbed.
And there's still guns there. There's still guns.
Yes. Here's the problem. 35 years ago, 40 years ago, we had gun racks in the back of our pickup trucks, and the rifle was just sitting there.
Yeah.
No problems whatsoever.
Not at all.
Okay. When Kennedy was assassinated, when Reagan was shot, it was trauma for this country. I mean, people still remember to this day where they were when Kennedy was assassinated.
Yes.
When Reagan was shot, they remember it like a course of time event, right?
Right.
Trump was not the president now, but he former president running again for president.
I'll remember
Trump gets shot.
Yeah.
And 3 days later, people are saying he's got ketchup on his ear. So bottom line, we don't need. I'm not a gun guy. I have some rifles. I have a shotgun and all that. I don't have a pistol license. I'm not.
Yeah, but you don't carry.
It's not. No, I don't have a license. Why am I going to carry? But and I should, because I'm a business owner. I should. But
Mike, you should carry.
If you're a business owner, absolutely. Absolutely.
Why? I wish I could carry in New Jersey.
Right. Just because you're a business
owner, I have
you
a gun license, but
absolutely
I can carry.
I as a business owner, I may have
You think you're going to
cash
get
on my
assaulted?
and why wouldn't someone come try to solve it?
Okay.
If they know, I don't listen. All my stuff goes direct deposit now, anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying,
Right.
every person should have the right to. I believe that is the natural deterrent. The natural deterrent is not knowing if someone's packing, and you're out there
that's
being
true.
an idiot.
That's true.
And then some guy is going to come out around a corner, take one knee, and pop you.
Yeah.
Okay, and you deserve it if you deserve it. Okay, but my thing is this. We need a mental approach change in this country. And the problem is the approach that we have with social media, with online presences, with movies. I mean, come on. Every movie coming out is telling you another way to kill somebody. You know what I mean? Every social media blip that you see right now is someone planning out something evil, or somebody deterring, somebody changing your mind thought process. And these young kids, I'm sorry, but when you're 14, 15, 16, the brain ain't developed all the way. And now you're taking in all this information at a rapid rate, and you're using it in the wrong manner. And so these kids feel the solution is, the solution used to be someone calls you an ass, you go out back,
you get in a fight.
You can't do that anymore because someone's going to shoot you.
No,
so now the kid's like, you know what? I'm getting bullied and all that. You know what I'm going to do? I'll teach this bully. I'm not going to whack him over the head with a 2x4. I'm going to shoot him and anybody else around who's just a bystander, because they don't care. Life is not precious to them anymore. It's a video game. And a video game, what do? You press the button and the life comes right back.
So you blame the shooter. You don't blame the bully. The bully.
I don't blame the bully. I don't blame the bully. I don't blame
the bully's hurting the shooter's feelings.
I understand that, but we all get our feelings hurt at some point or another. If I took a gun out and shot someone every time I hurt my feelings, I'd have the most kills in military history.
So if you get a bunch of like bad reviews on Yelp, do you get angry?
No,
you want to go out with the gun?
Good news or bad news, it's all good news if you're in business.
Okay,
because people are talking about you.
Okay,
well, all I'm saying is this. Is that the mindset and mentality needs to change of our youth. Okay, being bullied, you got to handle it, but you got to handle it in the right way. See, I'm not here waving a champion's flag for bullies. No, I think they're idiots because at some point in their lives, they're going to get bullied too at some point in their lives. When they're shitting in their diapers when they're 80 years old and in the nursing home, and some woman who's working in a nursing home smacks them over the head every night to shut them up. Yeah, right. They're being bullied. Right. Okay, so it's going to happen throughout the life. We're going to face this one way or another. Common. Yeah. Okay, so bottom line is we need a mental approach in this country to change the thought process of our kids, because acting in the way they're acting is not being strong, and it's not being the final solution. What it is, it's being weak. When you're taking a gun, and it's being weak. You are weak. You're taking a gun and you're shooting at someone. Then you're going to take, and you're not going to just take their life. You're going to take other people around them, innocent bystanders. Yeah. Two teachers got shot today and killed. I know. Along with two students.
It's crazy.
And you know what? Who knows if that was even the person that was intended for?
Intention
could have been anybody, right?
They just run.
14-year-old kid. Yeah. What does a 14-year-old kid know? He knows nothing.
Well, how is he getting a gun at 14?
Well, it's easy. You go in your dad's lockbox, or he's got a gun, or you go in his closet and he's got a gun.
Right.
It's accessible. Right. But if you take away the guns from law-abiding citizens, the criminals are going to have no problem getting access to weapons. I can tell you that right now, because it happens every day.
It does.
Right. So that's the big problem with gun control.
Dave, let me ask you, because you have a son who's younger, 9 years old, 10 years old. Is that something that you worry about? I mean, it's elementary school, it's younger kids. Do you worry about bullying? Do you worry about your son getting bullied? Do you worry about a school?
It's happened. So
it has happened.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How have you handled the situation if your son gets bullied? Because it's very difficult now, because you can't get away from it.
So, I try to teach him, like, you don't start something, but if someone starts something with you, you have to defend yourself, and you have
absolutely
you don't take anything from, take no shit, so to speak.
That's too bad.
But here's the my son's a big kid for his age, but there's always a bigger kid, so there's always a bully, no matter where you go. But the bottom line was this: the thing that's more difficult now. See, my father taught me that, until you stand up to the bully, your days are never going to be easy.
Yeah, it's just going to get worse.
Knock him right in the mouth, and You sock him right in the mouth, and whatever happens, but he'll probably back off, and then most likely what bullies do is they find someone else to pick on.
That's exactly what they do. That's
So
exactly what they
it
do.
doesn't necessarily solve the problem, but it solves the problem for you. But the issue nowadays is the kids are less physical, and they go right to
No, it's cerebral.
Well, they go right to weapons. Like they look at
Oh, wow.
Right.
they look at if they'll let it build up, because they don't just punch the guy in the face. Honestly, that's to me is people are always especially mothers are always in horror by that, but it's actually the safest solution. You know what I mean? Like two kids scrapping in the yard.
I'd rather have that.
Blows up in about a minute, and that's the end of it, right? But what happens is when it escalates, and this guy's really upset and he doesn't know how to handle it, and that's when you get these things that happen because of years and years of being bullied, not knowing how to handle it, and not learning how to resolve it. And the bigger problem is, and they're trying to do more of it. The big problem is schools not handling bullying correctly. So this is a big issue, because those administrators don't have the courage.
That's right.
To stand up to the parents and say, hey, your kid is the problem here. I'm not saying your kid is going to be the problem forever. I'm saying right now he's the problem. He's the bully. That needs to change. They are scared.
They don't address that. Wow.
Dave, my kid was in, oh God.
That's amazing.
Second grade, I think, or first grade. And he took a crayon in class and drew on the floor. And so he got called into the principal's office. And they called
For drawing on the floor?
Yeah, he's drawn all over the floor during class. You can't do that crap.
All right.
They're doing damage.
Okay.
So they call the parents in to have a sit down.
You had a sit down over a crayon?
With the principal, yeah. First grade or whatever. I think it was first grade he was in. Yeah. So we're there and we're talking with the principal. I told the principal. And the principal is a very, very delicate, sensitive guy. I'm like, listen, if he does this again, you have my permission to beat his ass right in front of everybody in class. So he stepped back and, oh my,
dear.
I go, no, I'm serious. I go, you can beat his ass.
Smack him around.
Right.
Smack him
right.
around.
But that's just it. And you're right. You hit it right on the head too. Parents are defending their kids, and their kids are assholes.
No, they are.
And they're defending their kids. After a while, those kids need a beating. They need a beatdown, whether it be a penal beatdown or a physical beatdown. They need something to put them in their place.
And the schools won't handle it properly.
They can't. They're worried of lawsuits.
Here's what happens if you bring in two children. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say one is bullying the other.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They talk to both parents. This is what they do. They talk to both parents.
Okay.
And say what happened. Okay. And the kid who's the bully said, oh, XYZ annoyed me or something, which is BS. And then it gives him an excuse to bully him. And then they ask the kid who got bullied, what happened? Okay. And the kid who gets bullied, and I know this from coaching for many years because it happens sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes on your teams, you have a kid get bullied. You have to pay attention for all that kind of stuff. So what happens is the kid who gets bullied starts to retract a little bit because he doesn't want to get in trouble. He's worried about getting in trouble. And so what happens is you walk out of that meeting, and unless the parent of the kid who's being bullied really says to them, you better handle this, okay, what happens is they walk out of there and nothing happens. They say, we'll watch it. We'll make sure. And the truth of the matter is,
there's no solution.
Teachers don't want that responsibility. Okay.
Nope.
The principal is usually weaker than the principals that I know. Listen, I had a woman principal in my high school, Jane Moffitt, God rest her soul, 6 foot, probably about 280. Okay. and she was in, the League of Their Own, the baseball.
Yeah.
She played in that league. She played in that women's baseball league. She was also a heptathlete who was in the Olympic trials.
Oh
anyway,
my God.
Obviously, when she was my principal, she was probably in her late 50s, but by then she was about 6 feet, 280. And by the way, not like big, but not fat per se. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Woman. And you didn't mess with Jane Moffitt. If you did something wrong, Jane Moffitt brought the hammer down.
No
The
questions
hammer.
asked.
That was it. If you were bullying, she brought your parents in. She told you, this is what's going on. It better stop, or that kid's out of this school. That's how. And she was a woman, right? People are you're just looking for a man. No, Jane Moffitt was a woman, and she was nails tough, and she didn't put up with nothing from anybody. Now, did you at times feel like, wow, she's tough? You know what? If you're running a school, and like what I said before, the kids to feel safe, to have an opportunity to learn, you need to feel safe to learn. That's
yes.
In order to learn. And if a kid's getting bullied, that's a major problem. Now, the fact that someone goes and shoots up a school, that's a whole nother issue, and that's there's either a evil issue there. The person could be evil. A mental health issue.
Mental health, right?
Mental health, right? But it has to be addressed, because what happens is people turn a blind eye to a lot of things that go on, and it's easy as an administrator to be like, I'll just deal with this tomorrow, or this is, we'll wait and see. And to me, it looks, if I see something going, the easiest way to solve any problem with kids is immediately solve.
Intervene. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've learned and Frank, you're a great coach, as Steve told me the story of one of your great coaching moments. It was quite a story we could talk about another time, but it was
fantastic
story that year that he told me about, that and as a coach, this, right? When you have an issue you have to solve, okay, something comes up, a kid in practice in football is, like, let's say he's on the starting offense and he's targeting a weaker kid, right? On defense,
right.
On the scout team, and just purposely hammering him.
Yeah.
You solve that right there. You tell that kid, I don't care that you're the star player. He's on your team. You take care of him. You're not seeking him out. And you do that again, you're out of here. You're not on
he's your family. Right.
Right. That doesn't happen anymore. No. That does not happen. What happens is, as soon as they go over to that star athlete and they say, listen, please don't do that anymore. Kid goes and does it again.
Please don't.
If a coach tries to lay down the hammer, that parent goes right to the administrator, and the parent goes to the administrator. And what happens is the star athlete gets off because the coach doesn't want to deal with it anymore. Same thing happens to the teacher in the classroom, right? They might bring it up.
Oh my God! Wow.
There's no respect for it. There's no respect for the position because nobody backs you up as a teacher. Who backs you up?
They go right to the administration.
They go above everybody. Yeah, they'll go to the superintendent if they have to.
That's crazy. I didn't know that, Frank.
There is no chain of command anymore.
No.
In New Hartford, are you afraid of school shootings? Do you think that it's possible for us?
Anything is possible in this day and age, Steve. So yes, every day you're worried about it. I think our district, although I heard some rumors that they may be removing. We have armed security.
Oh, we do.
Police, our town police.
I didn't know that.
Yep. They rotate in and they cover all the schools. So basically, the entrance is the entrance. You have to get through someone who's there and armed, and the rest of the school is locked from the outside, so it's difficult to get in. So, but anything can happen at any time. It's almost what it is. It's like a blanket at night when you go to bed. Sometimes it's going to keep you warm, but at the end, if it's freezing, it's not going to help you. So that's the case. It's a nice protection, warm feeling. But at any point in time, anything can happen. We had school shooting right just down the road after during a football game last year. So and
they stopped playing night games because
they stopped everything. I mean, so it's going to happen because of, like I say, it's pervasive in society. And once a kid sees, listen, they're going to watch the Georgia shooting. And someone else is going to get it into their head. Like you said, evil takes over. Someone's going to say, that's a great idea. Never thought of that.
Yeah. And they can expound on it.
Right. So, but we've got to go to the crux of the problem. It's still not the weapon. It's not the weapon.
No.
The weapons are dangerous. Some weapons are really dangerous. That's okay. It's not the weapon.
It's the kids.
It's the person handling the weapon. It's why do they have it?
Yeah.
Why are they doing this? What is their mental reaction to do this? How do we handle that? That's what we have to handle.
Wow. Dave, I just wanted to ask you, because I've heard it several times on the news, this fracking issue. And Kamala has talked to, she's a wrestler to me, Kamala. But Kamala has mentioned it several times about fracking. First of all, I don't know what fracking is. Second of all, why is she now, she's against it? Or is she for it or against it now?
She's not going to eliminate fracking. She's going to actually allow fracking to continue. Yeah, maybe in a monitored state.
Yeah. Why is fracking such a big deal? It's an important issue, both sides. And why has Kamala changed her stance on fracking?
Well, so fracking basically is, lack of a better word, you're basically drilling into like deep rocks to get oil. Okay.
So what's the problem with that? Why are people against it? Like, is it damaging?
Is it oil, or is it natural gas?
Sort of environmental issue, because you inject chemicals
chemicals in water. So a lot of the water ends up being contaminated in the areas. But is it oil or is it gas?
Oil and gas.
Oil and gas. So it's both natural resources. Okay.
But fracking helps our country because we're drilling for the oil and the gas that we're paying for from the Middle East or other countries.
We became oil independent under Trump.
We did.
Remember how low our gas prices was because he allowed fracking. I think it has the complaint about fracking from the Democrat side was that it affects the environment in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
I think that has been. Listen, everything that is done has some level of an effect on possibly the environment, but I think the reward far exceeds the any of the downside of fracking. First of all, the oil independence is huge for us. It's just like when people, I always think and this is not to go off topic, but fracking, I think is something that we should be doing. It'll make us oil independent.
Exactly.
It's a value add for our country. Okay. They have the ability to control the licenses that go out. So it's not like it's this crazy issue where people just gonna start fracking everywhere in their backyard. It's not going to happen. But it's important to understand that like everything that we utilize is some sort of a resource. Everyone was all about, electric cars, right? Well, as it turns out, like, the batteries that are being made, are mined, are causing an environmental issue, like in Africa, because they're the exact mineral. I can't remember what the mineral it is they have to get.
Lithium? No.
Yeah, right. It has a huge effect on the environment there or whatever. So everything has an effect. I always think the most genius thing about Elon Musk is they said, electric cars, and we'll give you all these credits for it and all that stuff to build electric cars. And they figured it would be a monumental opportunity for mostly liberals, and Elon Musk is the biggest electric car company in the world, and he's now obviously leans conservative, which I find hilarious that he's the biggest electronic car maker. But it's really a situation where it gives us oil independence, allows us to lower oil prices, which means our food prices come down, which means everything across the board, transportation prices go down, which lowers our cost of food, everything is an ecosystem.
Really?
Absolutely. Talk to Europe about energy independence, because they have none. Talk to them last winter about trying to heat their homes, especially in Germany, which they couldn't get power because the Russian pipeline was their own. They had to leverage themselves and basically give in to the Russians and buy a shit ton of energy from Russia.
Wow.
So really, you're letting a communist country, a country that has just started a recent war, a country that funds another one that funds terrorism around the world. And no one can say that they don't, and controls political events around the world as well. You're letting that country dictate to one of the most supposedly independent independent countries in Europe about whether, well, you know what? Maybe we'll give you just enough to get through the winter, or maybe we'll give you a little bit more. Well, you know what? In turn, give us this, this, and this, or we're not going to give you anything. So they're being held hostage. And when we go independent in our country, and when we were independent, the Arab world could do whatever they wanted to do. There was nothing they could leverage against us because all they have is oil.
100% independent, you're saying?
Absolutely. We didn't need oil from anybody. We were selling it.
We could frack and make enough, and everything
offshore fracking pipeline from Alaska coming in, which we could do whatever we wanted to do. If this country gets its mind straight, we can produce and distribute whatever we need to control the planet.
And you're telling me, like Dave, this fracking, if we're able to independently provide enough oil and gas or whatever to energy to fund our country, and we don't need to borrow from anyone else, that this affects inflation and prices of everything.
You're not borrowing. You're buying.
You're buying.
You're buying at top dollar. They're not selling it to you for nothing.
Right. No, you're buying
it. Not only does it affect inflation,
it affects everything.
It affects the world relationships. Okay. Let's ask this question. Iran, which since Biden has come into power, has become incredibly wealthy because of oil and are able to fund these terrorist operations around the world, especially in the Middle East, obviously. Okay. Groups like Hamas. Okay. When we were oil independent and not reliant at all on the Middle East and didn't need it, they're not starting wars. They're just trying to make sure their country is able to feed their people. We are funding the destruction of our own allies. We are funding the destruction of terrorists because we're not oil independent. When we are dependent on the Middle East or any other, or Russia or any other country, if the country, it doesn't have the same values as us, they will leverage that for whatever their value system is, which is radically different than ours in most cases. And if we make money from selling goods overseas, independent business people utilize it to build themselves a nicer house or a nicer car or get a car or whatever they use it for, right? For their own profit, to feed to give their employees more money. What these people who control it in dictatorships and communist countries, and what they do is they line their own pockets and their friends' pockets, and then they utilize people as proxies to gain power over whatever area they're looking to gain power, right?
Oh my God.
In the Middle East, the biggest thing. That's how it is.
$6 billion that this administration released back to Iran, granted it's their money, being held frozen in accounts because of their terrorist activity. So the money was frozen. The new administration comes in, releases, and gives the money back to Iran. So Iran, for the entire Trump administration and the first year of the Biden administration, you hear nothing about. You didn't even know the country existed.
Correct. They
get $6 billion. Next thing you know, missiles are launching towards Israel.
Yeah.
There's problems back in Iraq. They're trying to infiltrate. The Shiites and the Sunnis can't live together again.
No.
This is the problem. They fund Hezbollah.
That's a lot of money.
Right. They fund Hezbollah. They fund Hamas. So right now, you have just re-sparked terror in the Middle East.
You're saying we caused it ourselves. We released it ourselves.
This administration released money that was frozen.
Yes.
Okay. Due to a bylaw, maybe an international bylaw, to protect that money from going back to Iran because of their terroristic activity in the past.
And then
their desire to acquire a nuclear weapon. Their desire to that's listen. That's why Israel a few years back launched a missile and destroyed one of their they're trying to build a reactor plant.
Right.
Okay. So bottom line, if anyone is to blame for the uproar in the last year and a half in the Middle East, okay, it's got to be this administration because they funded them. If not, Iran didn't have the money.
That's scary.
What about Afghanistan? When we pulled out abruptly out of Afghanistan, left billions of weapons left and right over there, pulled out, allowed the Taliban and some of the hiding terrorist organizations to go back into power. Go look take a second and look at what's going on in Afghanistan now. Okay, they become a dangerous threat down the line, not because we're trying to antagonize them. It's the value system of the people in power there, right? So Taliban has taken back over the whole entire country. It's taken whole country back over slowly, but it actually wasn't slow. It was very fast. They took back the whole entire country.
And that action needed to happen because of 9/11. But bottom line, if the problem is we don't learn from history. So Russia invaded Afghanistan in 1979-80, and they had a 20-year war in Afghanistan, and they could not defeat the Afghan Republican to Taliban at the time. And they were bordered. They were right there. They didn't have to fly in tens of thousands of troops and supplies and everything from around the world to supply a war. They were right there on the border, and they couldn't defeat Afghanistan in 20 years, and they pulled out. So now here we come, and we're going to do the next 20 years and then pull out. So that's a history mistake. But beyond that, it's the failure again of this administration not bargaining things in the right way. You want to pull out Afghanistan? That's cool. That was going to happen under the Trump administration as well. And it was happening. But it was happening in stages. It wasn't happening it wasn't happening like at the OK Corral. One big shootout and it's over. All right. And so you literally had people that they had promised to protect, translators, assistants that worked with our military, hanging on the wheel bearings of the planes, taking off, falling to their deaths because they are trying to make an escape from an eventual death that they know is going to happen when the Taliban finally takes over after the last American troops are out of that nation. So it's a total blunder and catastrophe that people don't see. They ignore it. They sweep it under the rug because they have blinders on. They have blinders on. 90% of the media is anti-conservative, anti-GOP, anti-military, anti-establishment, anti-police. We have gained all this over the last 45 to 50 years since the Vietnam. I know I said this before, since the Vietnam War. You're talking about professors who were protesters during the Vietnam War, and now they became our professors, and they've passed along this instilled mentality of protest and stall and fight and argue over everything. There is nothing good this country does for them except pay their college bills, feed them, clothe them, send them assistance, give their parents a job, give them the country obviously does nothing good for them except everything. You understand what I'm saying?
No, they handed it on a silver platter.
That is the overall problem, and it's a mental change right now. You can look at it. What happened on Columbia's campus? On Columbia's campus, ridiculous. It wasn't just a protest to protest.
They took it over
the Palestinian cause, right? The Palestinian cause of the deaths going on in there. It was a protest to actually harass, raise, to actually physically attack Jews.
Correct.
Jews that have nothing to do with what is going on.
They were
scared for their lives on that campus, and they couldn't believe it.
And they were trapped.
The media did nothing to talk about this in the beginning, how the Jews are being treated on Columbia's campus. The same Jews that donate hundreds of millions of dollars to that campus, to the endowment of that campus, to fund these professors and fund these groups and scholars and organizations inside that university. They said nothing about that. All they did was defend the protesters who were there, just basically taking over an entire area and being violent and physical with people that were not on their side, no matter who they were. Okay, law enforcement on down. Now, all of a sudden, just like anything else happens in this country, we get a panel, another investigative panel. What the hell are you going to investigate? You're already seen it with your eyes what happened, but no, we don't believe it. Now it's too late. The media doesn't promote what's happening. They just put a little blurb in the paper or a little blurb online, and it says a Columbia study shows that anti-Jewish sentiment was turned into physical violence with students, and they were afraid for their lives on campus. No shit. We saw it. We saw it.
Exactly. Dave, let me ask you this. CBS, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, all liberal media stations, media outlets. You watch the 6:30 news and it's completely liberal. Why is that the case? Why is Fox the
Did you
only
throw
one?
in CNN in that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Communist News Network.
I don't understand why
Corrupt
all
news
the
network?
major
Corrupt News. Yeah, there you go.
Cover up news network.
If you have just basic cable and you get NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, all liberal for the most part, and they control what we see, and they have a purpose behind what they present to us. Why has that been that way for decades? Why do they side with the liberals, the liberal media? Why don't they tell the truth? Why don't they just stay independent and tell us the news, tell us the stories, and not slant everything and control the narrative to make it going to the left?
Well, my
Because
short answer is
it's everyone.
They're sociopaths. That's my short answer. But if you want what
Because I don't understand it.
I think the bottom line is this: who in the old days, I'm not talking about the social media era because that's kind of changing some things. In the old days, who got into media for the most part? What type of individuals were in media? Okay, in quote unquote the arts. All right, a lot of it is going to be people that are skilled in a different way. They were not the I don't know, the captain on the football team.
No, of course not. Right.
It's not that individual, right? And so I would almost argue that they may have even felt somewhat like they were on the outside. Well, this becomes an opportunity for them to control the narrative as the way they see it, right? And I look at it like this. Like I think about when I was in college and I leaned towards the Democrat side back then. I voted,
me too.
voted for Bill Clinton. I think about it from this standpoint. Like if you're told that the nice people, okay, are the Democrats by your teachers and
I
by
told you that's how we're all registered.
I luckily I used to question these things that people would say, but most people don't really. They just, oh, that's what it is. Oh, okay. But if you're told those things over and over again, and the big indoctrination in America really was, especially people who were poorer. If you go way back to like when FDR was the president, right? When you had the Great Depression, it was the Democrats in theory, okay, because when you see it, there's a lot of the history stuff now, like where they talk about how some of his policies may have
The New Deal,
may have elongated the Great Depression, but people are raised to believe that FDR was like a savior, right? That JFK was like a savior to the American people. So that's on the Democrat side. What people don't realize that the world has shifted. That's the thing. The people who were on those, who were for that stuff back then, who would have aligned that way, were the hardworking Americans, middle class America, were the people poor, striving to get to another level, people who were trying to become something, even if they grew up poor. Those were the people that were on that Democrat side. That has shifted. The Democrat Party is no longer aligned to that. And so all the people now have an elitist mindset that they are owed this opportunity, or they became successful by, I always hear this from, when you hear this a lot of times from a successful business person that's a Democrat. Now, maybe not Bezos, but a lot of them say this. Oh, a part of it was luck. I always hear actors say that all the time. Part of it, I was in the right time. I worked hard, but it was the right time, right place.
Right place. Yeah.
I believe that everything is luck.
Yeah.
Okay. If you believe that everything is luck, then you're gonna believe that people are always gonna be behind the 8 ball, and you got to try and do whatever you can to slant it that people are disenfranchised and they don't have opportunities.
They
That
are.
is luck that I became successful, not skill or not
Hard
taking
work or
advantage of an opportunity.
ambition. Yeah.
So I believe the opposite. I believe that, yes, listen, there always there is being in the right place at the right time, but being able to see that you're in the right place at the right time, to take advantage of that opportunity.
You got to make it happen yourself.
Yeah, well, to have faith that, like, that you're being guided in the right direction, and then when you see it, to be able to take advantage of that opportunity, to be able to force yourself to become better. That to me is much more conservative values type of thing. Like, it's up to me to go ahead and try to pick myself up and to be something. It's not the government's job to do that,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the difference. So I think media members believe that things are happen by chance, that people are really disenfranchised, they can't move up. It's almost like a slap in the face to people, in a sense that, like, you're not smart enough to be able to figure things out for yourself, so
Correct.
we have to help you along in that manner. And I don't know why it's all turned exactly that way, but there is a little shift back. Like the New York Post, hey, that's conservative. It used to be, Daily News used to be conservative. They're like a wildly liberal newspaper.
Dave, think about it. Before Rupert Murdoch and Fox, where was a conservative voice on national media? There was nothing. There was nothing. So basically, I think a change happened also when conservative voices started having airtime and consistent airtime with Fox I just feel that with an opposition voice, it becomes clearer to the liberal side or the news side that supposedly is giving you fair news that they have to ramp it up a little bit to protect their side, because they don't want the other side to talk bad about what they believe in. So that's why the reporting is skewed. You'll see, you know what I watch a lot? I watch the BBC.
Yeah,
I watch the BBC because sometimes I watch it for satire, because when they're talking about American issues, a lot of times you can see them sneering. They're trying to hold back their laughter on it. But bottom line, they're giving us a bigger world view, so I get to see world things. When you see world news tonight, you ain't seeing nothing on the world. You see, unless there's some kind of catastrophe, you're seeing a bunch of non-relevant stories and then something about Trump. So bottom line, the BBC kind of gives me a better angle. That's kind of what I like to watch more and really like to get informed on. But I think that to find an actual true midline reporting source is almost impossible. Right now.
Is. That's because I went on and I purposely watched the 6:30 news on NBC with Lester Holt.
Yeah.
CBS had the woman reporter. And
my wife went to school with David Muir.
ABC. I watched that.
Yeah.
And they're all completely different, but they control the narrative completely to the left. Yeah. It's not independent at all.
Right. You'll see an article that Trump blows, basically, after the 30-second to 40-second clip.
Yeah, I mean,
and then they come back with the heartwarming story of the one-eyed dog. You know what I mean? So they're gonna fluff you back up. So they've got you all riled up and angry,
and then they fluff.
You remember that anger point, and then all of a sudden, the cute little dog.
Yeah, they always end with something.
Right. Yeah, something nice, heartwarming, something heartwarming to make you feel like
amazing.
This bad guy
that it's so different
has sent your blood pressure through the roof. We're going to give you a nice, calm, warming, appealing story at the end, just to make you feel happy.
Yes. It's just amazing that it's all different. That's what shocked me.
About, like, if you watch Disney, I have a kid and he doesn't really watch cartoons as much as he used to when he was younger, but if you watch Disney movies, okay, they are so slanted.
Yeah, they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
They are.
Yeah, I mean,
Listen, my family loves Disney, Dave. My wife and my kid. My kid's almost 18. Frozen. He loves all the Princess and the Frog. I still watch that. I like the Princess Frog. But bottom line, they are entranced with Disney. And sometimes when you're entranced, you don't see the subliminal messages. It just becomes natural, becomes norm.
I've seen there's some of these movies that I have gone to with my kid. I was like
Wow.
my wife looked at each other like, oh my goodness, like they're trying to push a certain agenda. I'll tell you something interesting about
Even on
New York
TV
City.
too.
I'll tell you something interesting about New York City because you brought it up earlier in the show about how they vote and stuff like that. Um, there are people that I know that I'm related to who have always been Democrat and they have kids going through school system. And for the first time, and they may vote for Trump because of what they're trying to indoctrinate in the New York City school systems with the whole trans and
Oh wow.
yeah. They're putting stuff out in schools in New York City where they utilize things like the rainbow and unicorns to try to indoctrinate the kids to be like,
Oh my
well, you don't know exactly what you are, boy or girl type thing. And it's disgusting, by the way. But I know for a fact that it's going on because I know people that are going through it within the school system. And there are people that are up to here with some of the stuff. There's a thing that when most people when they have problems or things that are issues, it's always relative to how they see it through their own eyes, right? Those issues. The issue with some of these things that are going on with respect to trans or women's sports
Well,
or
yeah, gender identity, of course.
indoctrination is it's not just how they see it through their eyes, but they're trying to make you see it through their eyes.
Yeah.
And that to me is just craziness and forcing down your throat.
Right. Well, they must feel that we're forcing our straightness if we're straight down their throat or whiteness. But I haven't done it. I could care less what anybody is.
I'm non-binary.
The only color, I think you're non something else, but the only color that I worry about is green because I need money to pay my bills. But here's the thing. You're absolutely right how they're forcing it.
Joy.
So you remember forcing it down people's throats. Remember, so the recent Star Trek a few years ago, and there's a scene in there when it was all the new Star Trek members, the one with I forget the guy who was Captain Kirk. Good movie.
Yeah, you took me to it.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So there's a scene where the Starship Enterprise docks at their station, and the people get off, the service members get off the ship, and they're going to go greet their families and all that. And then Sulu gets off the ship. And then he grabs another Asian guy's hand, and they have a baby in their arms. And I'm like, damn it, Sulu's gay.
Oh,
they ruined it for me.
Yeah.
I always thought he was banging the green girl after Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
But see, that's where they're trying to force it. Like they have to get somebody in that scenario that fits the agenda.
Yeah, they do it intelligently.
Who cares who's gay? Who cares who's gay?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Exactly. It doesn't need to be forced down. And Steve, by the way, the Matrix where what was the name of the guy who was the
Keanu Reeves?
No, Keanu Reeves was the good guy. What was the
Lawrence
back?
No, Mr. Anderson. No,
well, he was Mr. Anderson. He was what was the agent's name? But he was all computer code, right? Ones and zeros. So that's what you are, Steve. You're not non-binary. You're ones and zeros.
Oh, okay.
Many more zeros than ones. We can tell you that right off the bat.
You're ones and zeros. You're computer code.
Yeah. Well. Listen.
You're AI, Steve. You're AI.
I am AI. Nobody is like me. I am the best podcast and radio host in the universe. This has been another wild and incredible episode of
Wild.
Yeah, we're wild. We're pretty wild. Episode of Rebel Republic. Again, I want to give a shout out to Turtle Boy Aiden Carney. Read his blog, turtleboydailynews.com. He's under indictment right now for witness intimidation. 16 counts of witness
It's a
intimidation
Trump situation.
for the Karen Reed case. Free Karen Reed. We hope Karen Reed, when she gets her new trial, that she gets freed. She had a mistrial in her first, and so I.
Why you think she didn't do it?
Yeah, she didn't do it.
Really?
Yeah, if you read about it, you'll learn.
I read.
So look up Turtle Boy, please, and support him because he needs us, and I want to be his friend, and maybe he'll come on the show.
You are desperate.
I am desperate, and maybe we'll get Johnny McEntee on the show. But this has been Rebel Republic on 97.9 Unity Radio. It is now 11 o'clock. Ernie has been thrilled and has put the show on live. So we were going to sign off here shortly for the voice of reason himself, Frank Cristiano.
Yes.
And the man who did the live stream did a great job. We appreciate it. Dave, thank you so much for putting this on live. Ernie appreciates it. And there is going to be a replay tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So if you did not catch it tonight, I'll make sure to put it on, and you will.
This is hot stuff.
Yep, you'll catch it tomorrow. So Dave, Ernie, and Ernie, don't fire us, but you love the show, so you won't. And Frank, remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and throw them back at life.